Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, it is a moody day in New York City. This has kind of been the weather for what feels like the entire winter, and I never thought I would say this, but I'm kind of ready for spring and summer. Today, we're going to see some gallery shows in my backyard of Tribeca, starting at Stephen Friedman Gallery, which I haven't been to since it was previously Postmaster's Gallery. Maybe some of you remember that gallery from my older videos. And I will say that Stephen Friedman has done an incredible job of renovating the space. They have updated it, but it's still kept its charm. This is Clare Wood's first solo exhibit with the gallery. They fairly recently announced her representation after the closure of Simon Lee Gallery in London. Rest in peace. I am such a fan of Wood's work. I am very lucky to have a small painting of hers, so I was over the moon when I saw that she would have a New York show. The exhibit is titled A Kinder Time, and it features a series of still life paintings that, quote, meditate on the fragile threshold between life and death. So due to things like climate change, war, really all of the things that are very real threats today within society. Other than landscapes, I would say still life paintings are probably some of the most famous types of paintings within art history. They symbolize the passage of time, mortality, and the impermanence of life. So this tradition, which you can probably recognize the most in 17th century Dutch art, used objects like wilted flowers, skulls, extinguished candles, and decaying fruit to remind viewers of death and the fleeting nature of earthly pleasures. And this was a theme known as vanitas. And while these works often celebrated beauty and abundance, they also carried a deeper message about the inevitability of change and the fragility of existence. In addition to using plants to represent the fragility of life, Woods also uses glass as a metaphor to represent the thin veneer between life and death. These works capture these vibrant window panes of Murano glass in Venice. Venice, as you all probably know, is a city where global warming is constantly top of mind, and the rising sea levels are a real threat to the preservation of the city. You can see another reference to glass in this work in the middle of the room. This is the largest work in the show, and it's titled Under the Dome. And it, quote, captures a spiral staircase surrounded by towering vegetation in the iconic Temperate House at Kew Gardens, London. So the glass of the greenhouse is protecting these really rare and threatened plants. Again, acting as a metaphor to represent this thin veneer between life and death. Another thing that's so unique to me about Wood's work is her technique. So she started her career as a sculptor. You can really see that influence in her paintings, where she almost sculpts her subjects into existence with these thick, expressive brushstrokes. And she always paints on aluminum, these large aluminum canvases. And she draws heavily from this archive of thousands of found and personal photographs that she uses as references. Our next stop is Almine Rech Gallery to see an exhibit of paintings by Keita Morimoto, who is a Japanese-born, Tokyo-based contemporary artist known for his cinematic, light-drenched paintings that blend classical technique with these modern urban scenes. His work often depicts nocturnal or twilight scenes where vending machines, convenience stores, and fluorescent signage glow like sacred objects, creating this surreal yet deeply emotional atmosphere. The artist states that, quote, "The anonymous liminal spaces in my paintings echo the feeling of never fully belonging. I'm drawn to the way emotions can transform a familiar setting into something entirely different, revealing deeper truths about the human experience." I personally see clear references to Edward Hopper in these works in the way that Morimoto explores these themes of isolation, memory, and the quiet tensions of modern life. Morimoto's goal with his works is to invite us as the viewers to really find beauty in everyday life. The show is titled To Nowhere and Back, and it is Morimoto's first with Almine Rech, and it's a reference to the fact that life is more about the journey and not just the destination. So each of the works takes us as viewers on a, quote, journey through the hidden corners of cityscapes, those overlooked spaces. Morimoto says that, quote, "I want the experience to be cinematic, as if the viewer is walking through a movie." And I think he nailed it, in my opinion. What do you all think? Our next stop is Jack Barrett Gallery to see an exhibit of works by Tong, who is known for these atmospheric paintings that have this dreamlike, again, almost cinematic quality. If they look familiar to you, it may be from the time we saw his works at Night Gallery in Los Angeles a couple of years ago. This exhibit is titled 10,000 Crystals, and it features 11 works that depict nightscapes and still lives. I love how Tong has found his own version of impressionism. He's captured the feeling of looking out of a car window at night and seeing all of the lights blurred together. And like all great impressionists, he's captured the feeling of a moment rather than the actual subject. The feeling I think that he's capturing with these works is one of contemplation and reflection. In the press release, Tong shares a very special early memory that influences his practice. He, quote, remembers looking at the world through a red ornament, the crimson orb reflecting back a miniaturized, pearlescent version of life. And his paintings possess the same kind of hazy, fleeting quality of memory, like attempting to recall the details of a dream before it slips out of consciousness, certainty falling away, and imagery further distorting only to spontaneously arise again in an ephemeral moment. Our final stop for this video is Marian Goodman's new gallery space in Tribeca. This show is an immersive presentation that features several new and existing bodies of work from Tavares Strachan across 7 diverse and site-specific environments created from a variety of mediums such as painting, sound, robotics, neon, marble, and even hair. Strachan is known for creating work that draws on history and culture to highlight overlooked stories of marginalized people, places, and events. He blends art, science, and history to explore the connections and tensions between them. In the center of this room is an almost life-size sculpture of the musician and artist Izuma. If you haven't heard of Izuma, it was the stage name of McFarlane Gregory Anthony Mackey, a Bahamian musician, artist, and mystic known for his deeply spiritual, theatrical, and genre-defying music. He was born in 1942 in the Bahamas, and he then moved to New York in the 1960s, where he developed a unique sound blending folk voodoo rituals, Junkanoo rhythms, African drumming, calypso, and psychedelia. Strachan was also born in Nassau, Bahamas, and currently lives and works between there and New York City. In this room, these works are actually made from hair. If you look closely, they are really beautiful. Also, call me crazy, but I saw a lot of references to work by contemporary Mexican artists in this show. So, for example, even though these paintings are made of completely different materials, they remind me so much of Bosco Sodi's paintings from afar. On the wall, there's a quote by James Baldwin that begins, quote, "You could be that person," transcribed in Strachan's neon handwriting. And the grass in the center of the room forms the shape of an African symbol, which means eagle's talons and symbolizes bravery. This neon skeleton is very similar to the one that Strachan had in the 2019 Venice Biennale. I don't know, some of you might remember that. The exhibit continues upstairs and it features a, quote, new body of paintings consisting of hand-tiled and painted word searches that speak to the artist's focus on visibility and invisibility. And that is all for this video. Don't worry though, there will be a part 2 where we continue exploring galleries in Tribeca, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you all in that one.